say for example, I'm going to create a new class.
Mhm.
Okay, just a minute. New class. So I'm going to create a class called phone, right?
Yeah.
So phone. So just tell me, what can we do with phone? So what are the features of phone? Phone can make a call, right?
Yeah.
Phone can make a call.
Mhm.
We can
Messaging.
text.
Okay. So I can say phone is making a call,
Mhm.
right? So, and what phone can do?
Receiving
text.
calls, sending a
Mhm.
text.
Receiving call.
Receive call, right? So I can say phone is receiving a call. Right? And phone can send a message, right?
Yeah.
Taking pictures, sending pictures.
Yeah. Sending a message. So many more features phone can do this.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So now consider we have this class. I just want to create another class. It's a generic class, right?
Mhm.
So this is going to be iPhone class. Right? I'm going to define an iPhone class. So in this class, I'm going to define static and non-static variable first before I proceed to further topics. Static
Okay.
and non-static. Okay. Our global and local variables. Global and local variables. Right? So okay, so tell me, what do you mean by global? What do you mean by global variable, and what do you mean by local variable? Vinod, could you please respond to the message?
Global variable is something you can access outside the class without creating an instance of a class.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And
So now let me define. Okay. So let me define. I'm going to define in A, right?
Mhm.
And A equals 20. So now I'm going to define public static void run me. I'm just creating another method. And here again I'm defining int A and A equals 30.
okay.
Right? So now this variable, the value of this variable,
Yeah.
this value of variable A
Mhm.
will be applicable only inside this method.
Yes.
So that means this A is totally different than this A.
Yeah.
But
This is
if
a
I
local
define,
variable.
yeah, in static B equals B, static into B, right? It is outside the method inside.
Yeah, it can be accessed from main as well as from runme.
Yeah. So now I can define B equals 30 here, and I can set B equals 70 here, right? But if I take this off, if if I don't define this. So if you
Mhm.
throw error, so it needs to be
Yes, it will throw an
cannot,
error
yeah, if you throw an
because
error,
it
we
doesn't
need to,
have the declaration.
yeah, we need a declaration of the variable, right? And this value of a remains only inside this method, and whatever you define value of a remains in this method. It won't be accessed outside the method.
Correct.
You get this? So this is the difference between a local and global variable. Let's go in detail in depth about these concepts, right?
So in this
So you
case,
got the
A is a local variable and B is called a global variable.
global variable. Yeah. Local means which is local to the method. Global means it can be accessed across the method.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah. So Deepika, you raised your hand with a question. Feel free to unmute and talk.
So, Abhi, the static variables are global variables?
No. I'll come to the static. I'm just telling you anything we define, any variable we define outside the method, but inside the class is called global variable.
Yeah, the doubt was that, I mean, that was for my doubt. Why should we define static int all the time? Can't we just define int b and
Hold
go
on.
ahead?
We'll come to that.
What did you
Okay.
say just now? Abhi, just now you once said on the what? Something you said about static or something. I just couldn't follow that.
No. I said hold on.
Before that you said something. Okay.
Yeah. Just hold on. no worries. I'll clear that. Just hold on. Okay. Okay. So now, in the global variable, we have two things. Global variable will have two ways. One is static and non-static. Right, Pratibha? Pratibha, with me? Pratibha, you went on mute.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm here, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So what are static variables?
For my understanding, static variable will be initialized once, and it will have.
Static.
I think it will have one instance, even if
Listen
you.
up. Okay. So a
The
variable
value
is
is static.
Hold on. So Lalita, I'm talking to Pratibha just now. Hold on. Any variable, any global variable which has a static as a keyword, that is called a static variable.
Okay.
Right? Any variable, so any global variable which does not have a static as a keyword is called non-static variable.
Yeah.
So this is static. You got an idea? So now question. So Abhi, what is the difference between static and non-static variable? Okay, so here's the thing. So non-static stuff doesn't have a rule. Non-static stuff means either it may be method. This is a static method, right? This is a static method.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because it is a static keyword. Non-static stuff does not have rules. What is that? Non-static stuff does not have rules.
What do you mean by it does not have rules?
That means non-static stuff. Say, for example, if I define
Public void.
So not static, only void stop me. So public void stop me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I define a method, so what type of method is this?
It's a non-static method.
Non-static
So it
method.
doesn't have a specific keyword. That's what.
Not like that. So now this can accept a static keyword, static variable. I can set b equals 30. This is what? Static
Mm-hmm.
static variable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can accept, non-static method.
Okay.
Get this? and
Yeah,
it can
non-static
accept,
method can access static variables, static methods, as well as non-static variables and methods.
yeah. So then it can accept non-static variable, and I can define so public void restart, right? So I'm just defining another method.
Mhm.
So it can accept non-static
Method also.
method also, right? There is no rule for this,
Okay.
but static method
Mhm.
accept only
Only
static.
static variables and static methods.
Yeah, exactly. So that means
Okay.
when I go to restart, if I use this one, I have no problem,
Okay.
right? And I can define another static method, right? Public static void. Right? I can call
Cool.
this
The
is
static
static
method, it is perfectly fine.
method, right?
But if you do the C, it is going to throw up an error.
So now if I use this,
Mhm.
it will throw
Because
error.
it is a static
And
method, it's a,
can get
okay.
static reference to the non-static field,
Mhm.
right? But this is not allowed. So then if I try this, so again it throws the same thing, cannot make a reference to the non-static method, restart from the type icon.
Okay.
That means static method will accept only static stuff, not the non-static stuff.
Okay.
Okay. So can I try this on your computer? Okay. This is going to be your interview question for sure. You should literally get this logically. Complete in detail, you should get this.
Okay.
Don't mug up, but get this as a logical one.
And methods are stored or accessed.
Exactly. Yeah, because in the entire training program, I don't recommend anyone to mug up. I want you to just get it, understand it. So get the story behind this complete end-to-end structure. You get this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm just muting it so it doesn't create any distribution. I'll talk whenever it is.
Just a minute, just a minute, okay? So now, is main method static or non-static?
It's a static method.
Static method, right? Now, if I want to execute stop me, so are we able to execute stop me through main method?
Yes, we can do it, but we cannot just create it like a stop me. I think you have to call it with this dot stop me.
Yeah, so this dot, no, we cannot, right? So we are not able to directly call stop me because this is a non-static method.
Okay.
Right? For this, we need to create an object for the class, then we should be able to access. Or else it's going to be showstopper for non-static stuff, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now Vinod has some couple of pointers to this. I'll just hand it over to him.
Okay.
He will explain about the memory allocation and all of this. Just give me a minute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So Pratibha will be in technical.
Yeah, guys. So first of all, Pratibha, can you tell me if you know what is a class and what is an object? Can you help me find a difference?
Classes.
Object. We are just starting. She may not have idea.
Okay, but still I want some answers from her so that I can add on. So can you tell me what you know about a class, what you know about an object?
Class is a collection of variables and methods it will have, but it doesn't have allocated space or anything like that. But when you create an instance of a class, that creates an object. That
Exactly.
is the real existence of the when you have an object, only then it exists. But when
Yeah.
you have a class, it has all the methods defined, all the variables declared, but it doesn't create, it doesn't have the actual presence anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfectly right. So class is actually just the blueprint. Okay. So assume that you are building a house. Okay. And you have a sketch of it on a paper. Okay. That is not actually a house, right? That is only a blueprint of the house. How the dimension should be, where should be the doors. That is actually nothing but a class which is having the definition of each and everything within it. Okay. But using that particular sketch, once you create a house, right, that becomes an object because that is an actual instance of it. Are you getting the point? Yeah.
Yeah.
So now there will be no memory for a sketch because a sketch is just on the paper. It doesn't need to exist anywhere, right? It doesn't need a physical space. Am I right? This Pratibha, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But a house needs a physical space, physical existence, right? So
Correct.
that is nothing but every instance needs a memory, needs a allocation. So a sketch is a class, instance is a object. Okay.
Yes.
For example, if you talk about cars, okay. So let me just try to draw something here. So if I actually have a class called car, okay, this is actually a blueprint. This is actually a class. Let me just draw it. This is a class. Okay. Now this could be I can have a car and I'll just make it Audi A4. Okay. I could have a maybe Audi A6 or I could have maybe Swift. Right? These are, let me just delete them. So these are instances of this class. So this is a physical existence. This is a physical existence. This is a physical existence. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Now this does not have a physical existence, but this has definitions of all the objects. I mean, all the
It has
cars.
properties.
Yeah, properties. It has methods. It has many things into it. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if I change, say for example, this Audi A4 could be blue in color, correct? This could be red in color, and this.
Will you please increase the font?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Thank you.
Okay, give me 1 minute. Yeah. So this could be blue, this could be red, this could be white. So what is this blue, red, and white? Color of the car. Correct.
Yes.
So
Correct.
that will be a property here, and that will be called as maybe color. Okay, it could be a string, and that color could be set as blue, red, and white. Okay, now this can be having 6 gears. Okay, and this could be having 5 gears. And this could be having just 4 gears. So here you can have an integer and have it as number of gears. Okay.
Okay.
So are you able to make the difference? This is a property, this is a value for the property, and these are nothing but objects. This is a class.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Now all the cars can drive. Correct?
Yes.
Drive. So this will be yeah, method.
How it functions.
A function. Yeah. Drive will be a function here. Drive will be a function. Okay, but this function will behave differently for different cars. This will drive at a more speed, this will drive at a lower speed, but drive in general is a function. Correct?
Yes.
So what will be, this will have a function called drive, and this drive will actually drive all the cars, but each car will behave differently, correct? So
Yes.
maybe we can have a property called max speed, which will be different for different cars, but car will drive within that max speed. So the definition here in the drive, you will say drive from 0 to max speed. So the max speed could be equal to 100 here, it could be equal to 80 here, it could be equal to 20 here. Are you getting it? So
Yeah.
different objects behave differently, they share different memories, that is different values. Okay, now comes the question. So far you have got what are objects, what is class, and what is a property, what is a function, why do you need it to be defined in a class? We need it to be defined in the class so that each object can have its own values for that, correct?
Yes.
Now what is a in this reference, can you tell me what is a static variable?
Okay. I am really not sure which one should be a static variable here.
None of these variables are static. Okay. 1 minute, someone has raised a hand. Can you please unmute and speak? Not sure who raised it. Yeah, Chandana. Yeah, Chandana.
Yeah. So when we declare a static variable, I think there is just one copy created for all the.
Yeah. Hold on. Your answer is right. I'll explain it so that others are not confused. Okay. Now, assume that the Audi company has been taken over, or maybe, for example, what is a car?
Is a vehicle.
It's a
Four-wheeler.
Four-wheeler. Okay. Who gave it a name car? Someone started calling it a car. Okay. Now, okay, let me not take that route. Maybe what I'll do is I will maybe change this. Give me a minute. Okay, this is in general car, right? Now inside, I'll talk about something called as inheritance before I tell about static. Okay. I'll repeat it in another class, but still I'll just give an idea of what is inheritance here. Okay. Now I'll give a new example. Give me a minute. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, I'll give a new example. Now, don't relate to previous example. This is a completely fresh example. Okay. I'll just increase the font. Give me a minute. Okay, now this is parents. Parents, I mean father and mother. Okay, this is a children. Okay, now what do you mean by inheritance in real life? In English, what do you mean by inheritance?
You get the properties of the ancestors.
Exactly.
And
so
it may have its own properties.
Yeah. So basically, if the parent, okay, tell me, Pratibha, are you a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim? What is your religion?
Hindu.
How do you define that?
Oh, how do I define that? Because my parents are.
Exactly. So your parents are a Hindu, so you inherited the property and you also became a Hindu. Is that right?
Yes.
So your parents' class will have something called as a religion. Okay, and this religion by default would be Hindu. Okay, now every inherited class out of the parent class will also be a Hindu by default.
By default.
Okay. Yeah, this is called as inheritance. So this is a class, you inherit that into another class, and that is also inheriting all the properties together. For example, if your dad has some property, some house, something, you inherit it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, so everything which comes from your dad to you is inheritance. So in the same lines, in object-oriented programming, if you have a class and you derive from that class, that is called as inheritance. Okay, and all the properties, all the functions, all the methods, everything, whatever definitions you have in the parent class will be inherited by the child class. All right.
Correct.
And now comes another question. Now, what is overriding? Overriding means you can change it. Now, your parent is a Hindu, and now by default, when you are born, you are also a Hindu. Okay, but that doesn't stop you from changing your religion, does it? No, right?
No.
Okay, you can anyways go legally, whatever procedure you can change it yourself to a Christian, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That is called as overriding. Now this particular children, it decides to change it to a maybe a Christian or a Muslim. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
called as overriding. Say
Mm-hmm.
suppose your parent class defines a function that it has to be done this way, it has to be done this way, and you change it. You can only change yourself, not the parent. Okay, so
Yes.
you changing it is called as overriding.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of cars, okay, now I'll come. Okay, you to some extent you understood this, right? I'll explain it much better again in another classroom. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
now to some extent you have got what is a parent class, what is a child class, right?
Yes.
Now I have a parent class and I call it as cars. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
I have another or maybe I have a class by name vehicle. Okay, and I
Mm-hmm.
have a class, I call it cars. Okay,
Inherited class.
yeah, inherited class. I have another thing called bike. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I have another class, maybe a van or a truck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now aren't all these classes, car is also a vehicle, right? Bike
Yes.
is also a vehicle, truck is also a vehicle.
Yes.
Yeah, so now this may have a property called registration plate.
Mm-hmm.
So now every car will also have a registration plate, every bike will also have a registration plate, every truck also will have a registration plate. This is a
Yes.
string variable, correct? Now,
Yes.
yeah, now every vehicle will have number of wheels,
Mm.
correct? This will be an integer. And for cars you can default it to maybe number of wheels equal to 4. For a bike you can default it to number of wheels equal to 2, and for this maybe you can default it to number of wheels equal to 6, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you need see the definition of it is available only once here. Okay, but you are having different values here. Okay,
Yes.
now this car will have another child. Okay, that you can call it as maybe Audi or luxury car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Audi and Camry.
sorry.
No, I just said Camry.
Okay,
Toyota.
regular cars. Okay, you can
Mm-hmm.
define it as further definition. So now luxury car need not define everything. For example, now vehicles will have a function called drive.
Mm-hmm.
Will have a function called start. will have a function called stop. Okay,
Yeah.
we'll have a function called turn. Anything that is actions, that is a verb in English. Okay, that will become a method. Anything which is a noun, which is just carrying a value but no actions or nothing, will become a property, that is a variable. So registration
Okay.
plate is just a registration plate. It is not going to do any action. Your number of wheels is not going to do anything. But drive, start, stop, these are all functions because it's a verb. If you are good in English, you know what is a verb, what is a noun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So anything which is an action driven, that is a function. Anything which is a noun, that is just a value, it is a property. Okay. So
Property.
now, because
Very
vehicle has this drive, everything will have a drive. Okay, every function, cars can be driven, bike can be driven, trucks can be driven, everything can be started, stopped. So you can see that just by designing my object oriented programming like this, I need not repeat, like I need not repeat what is start for cars, what is start for bike, what is start for truck. Correct?
correct.
So I can have just single definition. Correct?
Correct.
Yeah. Now there may be a special case. Okay. Now in this start function here, okay, I'm just defining it here. Just ignore the syntax and just concentrate on the idea here. Okay. Now
Okay.
I say this start will be start with a key. I mean, this is a start function. I'm just writing the definition for start. Okay. Now the start is nothing but you insert a key and start. That is defined here. So all the vehicles behave like this. Okay.
Yes.
Now one fine day, someone comes up with a new idea, like the Tesla cars, that you don't need a key at all. You can have a start with a card, just a digital card. Digital card like maybe visiting card, I mean like a credit card. You don't have a key. You just have a card, and with the card you can log in and you can just start. Okay. So what is happening here is every child behaves just like its parent. Now this luxury car is overriding it, giving it a new definition. For me, start doesn't mean I need to have a key. For me, start is something different. Okay, but this change will not affect its parent, will affect only its child. So for example, if from the luxury, if I define another class and call it as Tesla cars, okay, and if I have another class from here, and that is nothing but Audi car. Now Audi car and Tesla car, for them start means start with a digital card. Okay, now from the regular car I can have a Suzuki. Okay, and from this one I can have maybe BMW or something. I'm just making it up. Okay.
Okay.
Now if you have a BMW car and if you have a Suzuki car, for that start means starting with a key. But if you have a Tesla car, start means starting with a digital card.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the idea of inheritance.
Yes.
All right. Is clear so far?
I have a question, but I think I'll skip for the later.
Wait
I
for
wanted to ask.
yeah. So now you understood why we need a property within a class. You understood what is a function within a class. You understood what is overriding, what is child, what is parent within all this, within this example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you have something called as color here. Okay, every vehicle will have a color. Okay, and that color you will define it here, not here. maybe here from the Tesla, you define another thing called maybe Vinod's Tesla. This is my car, okay, which is
Yeah.
red in color, and now this can have another
This is an instance. It's not a
yeah,
child.
yeah, this can be blue in color, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now here are you clear? I mean, I'll just change the shape so that it's not confusing. I'll make it a different shape.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to represent it as a child, it is not. It is
So
instance.
maybe I'll make it this way. Okay, so this is instance, and this is also an instance of Tesla car. Okay, now
Yes.
my car, when I do a start, it would not start with a key, it would start with a digital card. Are you getting the point?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because it is inherited, and I'm defining a class or instance of Tesla car and not an instance of vehicle. Okay, now
Mm-hmm.
someone might have a Suzuki car, and this may be Abhi's car, Abhi Suzuki. Okay, and this may be also red in color. Okay, but
Mm-hmm.
this one, when Abhi's car says start, it doesn't start with a digital card, it starts with a key.
Key.
Right, because it has its definition, it has its roots. Okay, correct. Now Abhi specifically for his Suzuki car, now we defined for luxury, all the luxury cars, digital card here, right, and all the vehicles has key here, but specifically for Suzuki, maybe there is a instance. Let me just take it here, give me a minute, I'll explain that. You can do overriding in any level. Now from Suzuki might launch a new brand, okay, and they may call it as maybe X, Y, Z cars, like any Swift car or anything. They just have a brand called XYZ,
Mm-hmm.
like Nexa or something, okay. And Abhi's car need not be this. Abhi's car may be XYZ, and now this XYZ may define start with a phone, smartphone.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you ask Abhi what is start, he would say start is nothing but start with a smartphone. He wouldn't say start with a key because he has overridden it. Okay. But when you say stop for Abhi or turn for Abhi, it is still the turn which is coming from his parent because he has not overridden it.
Yes.
The turn definition for the turn is still coming from its parent. The same way for Tesla also, it's still coming from its parent.
Right.
Okay, and the color is also coming from its parent.
Correct.
Okay, now not just the functions, you can have special variables within this class also. Now XYZ car has all the properties of the vehicle, correct, of the cars of the Suzuki. So for example, now this has something called as number of wheels, correct. Maybe we can have a property here, call it as I'm just coming up with example. Okay,
Sunroof.
Sunroof, yeah, it's a very good example. Now not all vehicle will have a sunroof, right? Truck need not have a sunroof, bike won't have a sunroof, correct, but cars will have a sunroof, correct. So if you have an instance of bike, and maybe I'll say Vinod's bike. Okay, now I'll just change, this is an instance, so I'll change the shape of it. Vinod's bike if I ask for sunroof, okay, it will be null because there's no definition for sunroof. But if I ask for color, it will have, because it has the definition on in vehicle. Correct?
Mhm.
So what does this mean? When I say Vinod bike dot, I will get color as option in Eclipse, but I will not get sunroof. Are you able to match it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the same way, any car now be it Suzuki car, you'll also have a sunroof. BMW car will also have a sunroof. Okay. Are you getting the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what is the now see now what the color is a variable. It's a simple variable. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
It is not a static variable. Correct?
No.
Because every car, say for example,
Has
I'll just
has a different color.
yeah, I'll say Divya's car. This may be white. Okay. This is also an instance, so let me change the shape of it. Give me a minute. Sorry guys, I was not prepared, so I'm just drawing it here roughly. Okay. Now this is a class. I mean, this is object. This is object. This is object. Everything in square is a class. That is a blueprint. Everything in this shape, eclipse kind of a shape, this is actually a instance, a actual physical car. That is a object. Okay. Now each object can have different values for its color.
Color.
Right? Now this is not static. Now assume Tesla car is being sold to someone. Say one fine day what happens? Now someone comes and buys out Tesla. Okay. Maybe a new car company, or maybe Skoda, okay, comes out. They change the brand name from Tesla to Skoda. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the brand name of Divya's car? It is no more Tesla. It is called Skoda car. Correct.
Yes.
This is so. Before explaining that, let me do the change again. Give me a minute. Tesla. Now here, every car can
Brand name.
brand name. Yeah. Now Tesla car may have something called as brand name as a variable, and this is static. Okay. The reason they keep it static is because it will be just same for every instance of its. So every Tesla car will be called as Tesla car, and this will be by default set to Tesla. Okay. I'll just rearrange this. Guys, are you able to follow the idea I'm giving here?
Yeah.
Pratibha?
Yeah. I'm following you, but we
Yeah,
just
give me 2
not
minutes.
drifting from what we were discussing.
Yeah. I understand. Give me 2 minutes. So now, color is just a simple variable. Every instance can have its own colors. But if they share a common variable, that is a static variable. Okay. For example, in this case, brand name. That is a common across Divya's car, Vinod's car, Pratibha's car. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
When someone buys Tesla and changes this to maybe Skoda, now if you ask what is the brand name of Vinod's car, it will be Skoda. It will not be Tesla. Correct?
So, can you change your cars? Just, for example, I was asking the instance you created a Vinod's Tesla instance. Can
Mm-hmm.
access brand name and change it to Skoda?
No, if it is static, you can change it, but if you change it, all others also change it because everyone share the same
Okay.
memory.
Okay.
Are you getting the point? So
Yeah.
if I have a car, if you have a car, and if someone else have a car, and we all have the same brand, and if the brand itself changes, everyone's brand changes. So in such scenarios, you use static variables.
Okay.
Okay, if I have a car, if you have a car, and if someone else has a car, and if everyone has their own colors, in such instances, you have normal variables. Now, why am I
So it
telling
can be,
1 minute? Why am I telling you all this is because now in the real world you will have real problems. Okay, you won't create. I mean, for example, when you go out of this training, right? You will be joining a company, and in the company you will have real world problems, and you will have to solve them using your knowledge. Correct?
Yeah.
Now, when you are doing that, you will have to map the real world to your programming world. Correct?
Correct.
So vehicle is a real world object. I created a blueprint for a vehicle. Car is a real object. I created a blueprint for it. Luxury car is a real object. I created a blueprint. So on the same lines, everything in the real world, you have to map it to your uh, blueprint. Okay,
Correct.
when you're doing it, you have to take a decision. Should it be a variable? Should it be a function? Should it be a static variable? Should it be an integer? Should it be a string? You have to take a decision. Correct? You are the designer. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
So while taking a decision based on the idea I have given you, you have to come up. For example, if it is number of wheels, you know that it is going to be a count. It is not going to be ABC. It is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So you can decide it is to be an integer. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Now comes the next question. Should it be static? No, because if you make it static, all the vehicle will have same number of wheels. That is not right. That doesn't match with the real world. Correct? So don't make it static. And coming to the brand name, why should you make it static? Because if one fine day, if it changes, it should change for everyone. Correct?
Correct.
So don't make it static. I mean, make it static. Okay. Now comes the next question. What is public? What is private? Correct. Now coming to that point. Now brand name cannot be decided by Pratibha. Correct.
Yes.
So this has to be private, or maybe yeah, private. So what will happen? Instance cannot change here. I mean, not private. I think I need to give a separate, different example for it. Not this. Maybe. Okay, I think give me some time. I'll come up with a better idea for private and public. So when deciding a variable, you have to make a couple of decisions. What is the type of it? Should it be static or non-static? Should it be public or private? All these decisions has to be made, right?
Yeah.
Now, while making those decisions, you have to just close your eyes, think over it. Should it be public or private? Should it be static? Should it be integer or thing? Based on your own sketch. Like when you're drawing a sketch for the house, you decide how big the room should be, correct?
Yeah.
Nobody defines it. If someone, for example, let's say you're a civil engineer, you're designing a house, and someone comes to you and tells me, okay, I have a such and such a big plot, please construct a house. That's all he gives you a requirement, correct? And you come up with a sketch, like my bedroom should be this much size, my living room should be this much size, correct? On the same lines, when you go to a company, someone will come to you and tell, I have such and such a problem, please come up with a design for it to solve it, right? On that stage, nobody would come and tell you, okay, create this class, create this variable, create this function. Nobody would tell you that. You have to take the decisions to do it. And when you take the decisions, you have to start questioning yourself. Okay, I want to create a function. For example, you have a website, and someone, your customer comes to you and tells you, okay, I have this website, do the automation for this. That is your ultimate goal, right? Now the customer would not come and tell you, okay, create such and such a class for me, rewrite such and such a functions for me. He wouldn't tell you anything like that. You have to come up with your own ideas, right? Now let's come to that part. Now assume that you are placed into a company, and you get into a job, and you are given a website, and you are asked to test it. Now tell me, you have to create a class for it, you have to create an instance of the class, correct? And you have to do automation with it, correct? Now you have to give a name for the class, maybe a name for the variable, a name for the functions. You have to define whether it is static, non-static. You have to define whether it is integer or a float, or what is it returning, is the function returning something. So for example, when you talk about okay, I'll also give you some overview of automation testing here. Okay, now you have a website. How do you do it? I mean, how do you test it? You click on something, you do some testing over it, correct? You click on the button, then you do the testing. The button could be any button, right? It could be a login button, it could be a logout button, it could be some other button, right? Now I told you actions, right? Clicking a button is an action. Am I right? So action, should it be a variable or should it be a function?
Should be a function.
Okay.
It's a function.
Yeah. So you have to define the function. All right. So I'm just telling you, giving you idea that you need to take the decision. Nobody is going to guide you. Be prepared for it. Okay. When you want to do the decision, you have to come up with the questions yourself and think whether should it be a function, should it be a variable, and what type of it. So this, remember this particular idea of vehicle, car, bike, and how I derived it. Okay, now using this idea, you can tell me brand name, should it be static or non-static?
It should be a static.
Okay, you understood why I made it a static. Now color, should it be static or non-static?
Color should not be a static.
Okay, now drive, should it be a function or a variable?
It's a function.
Number of wheels, should it be a function or a variable?
It's a variable.
Okay. Engine size or engine capacity, what they call it as CC, right? Should it be a function or a variable?
Variable.
Yeah. And switch on the headlight, should it be a function or a variable?
Function.
Exactly. Okay. Now switching on the variable, I mean switching on the function, sorry, switching on the light, should it be public or private?
Switching
Public.
on the light is the function. So that
Yeah.
function should be a public or private.
You can keep it public because
It's,
everyone needs to switch on. It is not just you. For that reason, we have to keep it public. For that, I'll give you a different example later on. Okay. So now you got a basic idea of how to design a class. What is an instance? What is a class, right? And you know what is static, what is not static.
Yeah, we talked about the variables of whether how it has to be a static or non-static. Also for the methods, how do we decide whether it is static or non-static? Can you give us an example?
Okay, static method. Okay.
I'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll hand over to Abhi. Maybe he'll give you an idea on that.
So thank you for this explanation. Awesome. Okay. Okay. So now you got an idea about objects, right? So now you already know about static and non-static variable and methods. That is done.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me, as Vinod explained about different cars and all, right? Let me create a new car,
Okay.
right? So when I create a car class, I'm going to define. So say for example, string color, right? And int price, right? Model and int big, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now everything is in non-static, right?
Yes.
I need to create an object for this class. What is the class? Car is the
Car.
class. What should I create?
Object. So car.
How do I create? Yeah. So it's a new car.
New car.
If I use a new
Constructor.
keyword, new car. So this
So
is the
car.
object.
This is creation of an object. So
This is the
car,
object.
car name equal to new car.
No. This is the object.
This itself is an object.
Yeah, this itself is an object. New car. When you use a new keyword with the name of the class, so that is called an object.
Okay.
Right? So now we need to operate something, right? We need to do something on this object.
Mm-hmm.
So what we need to do, we need to set the color. What color we need to provide? We need to set the price. We need to set the model. We need to set the width. Right?
We need to create an instance of the object.
We need a reference for this object.
Okay.
What do we need?
Is it a variable object?
No. Hold on. Okay. So, Pratibha, we need to set a reference for this object.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe reference
What-
variable you call it?
Wait. Hold on. Just a minute. Okay. So Pratibha, are you with me?
Yes, I am with you, Abhishek.
So what we need to set?
Reference to an object.
Reference to this object, right? Say, for example, any name you can give, right? We call it a variable, right? So, but in this area, we call this as a reference. BMW equals new, right? So here, wheel, what is the data type of this wheel?
Integer.
Integer. So now, for this reference, create a local variable, right? The instance is class instance.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the car. This is the reference for the car.
Mm-hmm.
Using this reference, we are going to operate.
Okay.
How do we do that, right? BMW dot color. So we can set the color.
Mm-hmm.
Which color do you like?
Yellow. BMW
Are you
yellow.
sure? My God, you're the first person in the 6 years of my career chose yellow color BMW. So, and I'll tell you, many of the people who sat in the classroom BMW and they want that particular car, they end up buying this car. So,
No, I don't want yellow BMW. I just like the color yellow.
Okay, no problem. So then BMW dot price, right?
Mm-hmm.
So price maybe 50,000 USD, right? So BMW dot model. So it's maybe 5 series. 5. And how many wheels car will have? BMW will have
4.
4, right? So we set on these properties for this.
Yes.
Right. So car BMW, new car, and BMW and car. Similarly, I want to create another car, Audi. Right? Dot color. Okay, so don't get like this. Which color you like?
Okay, let's go for traditional black.
Black. Okay, so I have added black Audi.
Okay.
So that is so.
So I don't want to break your heart by telling green.
Yeah. So price, this is somewhere around 70,000. So dot model. I have A6, and Audi dot, and of course wheels are 4. Right? You get this? Now I want to just display this. How can I display? Some more length. BMW color equals
BMW dot color.
BMW dot
Color.
right. So the so this
Dot
one
price.
price. Okay. So then it's going to be this. Right. So similarly, I just replace all BMW with Audi. Right.
You can just have a method to display all the properties of the car.
Yeah. So now when I run this, see BMW color yellow, price 50,000, and Audi black, price 70, A6, and the four wheels.
Yes.
Right? Now when you see the wheels are remains 4, right? Instead of defining it again, I make it static.
Okay.
And it's a very bad idea to access the static variable using objects. So we don't need this, right? Just we can set this like this.
Okay.
Right? So we can do that. But just to show some differentiation, I just show you little changes here. Right? Let me show this in a diagram. What happens is, as soon as we create new object, what is that new object you created? BMW new car, and gave a reference. In the backend of Java, there is a space create. You get this? And it will have a reference. That reference is what?
BMW,
right? Inside this, all non-static content will be placed. What are all the non-static content?
Color, price, model.
Right. So here you will get right. string color. So what is the color you set? Yellow. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the price you
50,000.
set? 50,000. What is the model you set? 5.
Right.
Right? So
Mhm.
that will come over here. So this portion is set by the user, right?
Yes.
But this portion is set by the system,
Mm-hmm.
right? Similarly, when you create new OD, another memory will come over there, and again this will give a reference. What is the reference?
RD.
Right? You got OD, and again it's a color,
Black.
right? Model. So this 6 comes default, and it will set black. Price
70.
Model A6. Right? Then
Mm-hmm.
there is this static will come on top of everything.
Mm-hmm.
So what is that static one? Green. Green equals 4. You get this?
Yeah.
What is this? This is non-static. It is only available for this particular object you have created.
Mm-hmm.
So this yellow won't be duplicated into this color here. Or this color won't be changed to yellow. But when you change BMW wheel, BMW dot wheel, oh, no, not wheel equals 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now what will happen? If you run this,
RD will also become 6.
okay, so sorry, I'm setting here the 4, right? Reset. And just don't set anything to RD. So now RD will also become 6.
Okay.
What happened is, initially it was 4. This will be eliminated, removed on the global level, and the global level, and this will become how much?
6.
So now BMW will also 6, RD will also 6. If you change a static variable in one place, it will reflect across the object.
Okay.
Right? So now let's consider another situation. Honda, sorry, car. Honda equals new car. Now what will happen?
There is a new reference object creator, which will also have the wheel as 6.
So there is a new reference object created, and this will be named as what?
Honda.
Honda. And what do you get here? Okay.
Dollar price model.
And only wheel is set. But what is the color of Honda?
It has not been set yet.
Exactly. So, but you will get the variable, static, non-static variable, but that is not set yet. You get this?
Yeah.
So now we got an idea about static and non-static variable and static and non-static method. Even if you define non-static method, it comes here. Static method comes here.
Okay.
Okay. So we don't need to go into this much depth to understand, but this is going, I'm just giving an overview picture about static and non-static so that you don't get confused during interviews.
Mm-hmm.
You get this?
Yeah.
Awesome. So can you try this on your computer?
Abhi, Abhi, I
Mhm.
have a question. I just copied and I just executed the same code in here in my system. But when I change the wheel type to a different number, then it is not changing it for BMW as well. I changed it for Audi, but it is not changing. It is showing the same thing, 4.
Okay. Let's discuss about concept of inheritance. These are called object-oriented programming. Anything we do, all these things called object-oriented programming. OOPS concept. What do we call?
OOPS concept.
Object-oriented programming. Right. So now I have created phone class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also I was defining iPhone class, right? So
Yeah.
I just rename this to new iPhone. So because I need to create, iPhone class. I will create phone class. I have phone class, and now I'm going to create an iPhone class. Right. So now what iPhone can do? iPhone can also make a call, receive a call, take a picture, send SMS, all those things, right?
Yeah.
So instead of recreating those features, iPhone should be able to inherit the property from phone class.
Yes.
Right. So now, if I try to create iPhone I equals new iPhone, right? Now, if I try to make a call, I don't have accessibility for the phone class. Okay. For that, if I extend, there is something called some keyword called extends phone class. iPhone extends phone class. Then iPhone object should be able to have access to all the methods and variables from the phone class.
Phone class. Yeah.
Right. So now this is iPhone make a call. iPhone can receive a call. iPhone can send SMS. Right.
Yeah.
So we have this warning because everything we created a static method. We can make this as non-static methods so that object we should be able to access. Right. So now let's leave a breakpoint. So if I want to go inside this method, what should I do?
Inside.
F5,
Pardon?
right? If I want to go inside this method, I need to press F5.
Okay.
Phone is making a call. So phone is receiving a call. Phone is sending a message. You get this? Now iPhone wants to take picture also. So phone does not have a camera facility, but iPhone has a camera facility. Now has to take a picture. So now iPhone can public voice take picture.
Abhishek, so earlier you removed that static from the functions, right? Make a call, receive call. Why should that be? Because the main is
We are trying to access through object, right?
oh.
So that's fine.
So
Say for example, I make
okay.
Record the call, right? Public static void record call, right? So phone is recording the call. Phone is recording the call. So now here I can call. If that is a static, I don't need an object. I can directly call it as record call.
Okay. Because
right?
we are accessing.
So if I want to access something through object, I need to have record call. Right? Now iPhone wants to take a picture, right? So now we'll just take off this record call. Maybe I can keep it here. Right? So now I dot take picture, right? So now when I debug this, right? So now phone is making a call, phone is receiving a call, phone is sending SMS. Now phone is recording the call, right? But here iPhone is taking the picture. You see this? So you can inherit all the property from the parent, and you can add more features to this child class.
Yeah.
Right? So now somehow the way phone is making a call, iPhone is not liking it. iPhone wants to create its own way of making the call.
Wipe call.
So then iPhone defines iPhone is making a call. Right? Now question arises. Now what will happen? If I execute this, will this method execute or will this method execute? Right?
No,
Let's
iPhone
find
is
out.
making.
iPhone, right? Let me see. Right? So now if I press F5, can you see this? It did not go to the parent one. It went to the child class. Right? But receive call, it went to the parent. Send SMS, it went to the parent. Record call, it went to the parent. So pictures, because it is only one method. But when there's two methods, it's a child class will have the priority. This mechanism is called method overriding.
Okay, this is overriding, not overloading.
Yeah. This is method overriding, right? So into the question, what is method overriding? What is method overriding? Child class.
And the child's method overrides the parent one.
Child class. Child class method overrides parent class.
Parent class already. Method.
Mechanism of child class method overriding parent class method. Overriding method parent class method is called method overload. You get this? There is nothing called specific keyword called method overloading or method overriding. Both are as a mechanism. Okay. Into the question, what is method overloading and method overriding? Right? Method overloading having in the same class, same method with different argument is called method overloading. And in the parent and child class, if the child class or method overrides the parent class method is called method overriding. It's a 9 out of 10 interview they will ask this question.
So Abhi, I have a question. So here the child class is the make a call, which is defined in the iPhone, right? So iPhone class make call will be executed first, then later the one which is inherited from phone, right? Make a call. I dot make a call.
I dot make a call from local.
Oh, I dot make a call. It is not inherited from phone.
It is inherited from phone, but now it is overridden. It is overridden method now.
But it executed 2 times, right? So there is no ambiguity.
No, it did not execute. iPhone is making a call.
Oh, there is only one thing. So it won't be executed twice. So only one. Okay. So the I dot make a call will not be executed?
It is executed. It is executed. Now if I
Oh,
press F5, this
yeah.
method is executing.
Okay.
So why don't you try and run now? I want to create iPhone X. What do I want to create? I want to create iPhone X, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now iPhone X extends iPhone, right?
Okay.
So now what I will do, iPhone X equals new iPhone X. So now X should be able to access everything from phone class and iPhone class,
Yes.
right? It can have a make a call, right? Here phone is a parent class,
Yeah.
and iPhone is child class or subclass.
Yes.
Either of the way you can say. So phone is parent or superclass,
Mm-hmm.
right? iPhone is child or subclass for parent. This phone class for phone class, but it's a parent class for
iPhone X.
iPhone, right? But this cannot be superclass. This is the superclass.
Okay.
Okay, and
Okay.
yeah, just you can give any name. I'm just giving hierarchy of parent to child to sibling. Another child, right? So now this phone to iPhone, iPhone to iPhone X, right? This is called multi-level inheritance. So inheritance, it is not a keyword. Inheritance is not a keyword, it's a mechanism. What is the spelling of multi? M-U-L-T.
TI, but it's one word, not two different words. Multi? No.
Yeah, multi-level inheritance, right? So multi-level inheritance is possible in Java, right? There is something called multiple.
Okay.
Multiple inheritance. What does that mean? That means iPhone class extend phone class. Maybe I can create, some, instead of phone, smartphone. Along with the phone, if I create smartphone, right? iPhone X,
Android.
comma, smartphone.
Okay.
That means it is trying to extend two parent classes. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay, so that is not possible. Multiple inheritance is not possible.
Oh.
Yeah. So the reason is if a phone call in this smartphone, right?
Mhm.
Smartphone also has a make a call, and here maybe mobile app store, public void app store. Okay. Smartphone is
That's App Store.
app store. Right? So here smartphone is making a call. Smartphone is making a call. right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, so now what happens? iPhone X dot make a call, right? It can extend smartphone. There is no problem, right?
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yes.
Or it can extend iPhone, not a problem. Or it can extend phone, not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it cannot extend two things,
Okay.
right? It cannot extend smartphone. So the reason is when consider if this is allowed, consider
Mm-hmm.
while make a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
iPhone X will get confused. Should it go to phone class or smartphone class? Because phone class also has a make a call and smartphone also has a make a call. From which one it has to pick?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
iPhone X will get confused. So that's why multiple inheritance is not possible, and because this will cause diamond problem. What is diamond problem?
I don't know.
What is diamond problem? If by chance Java allows multiple inheritance, that will cause a diamond problem. That is the reason Java does not allow multiple inheritance. Interview question.
Okay.
Right? So, so they will ask you, so Pratibha, tell me what is the difference between multi-level inheritance and multiple inheritance? Will Java supports yeah, this is multi-level inheritance, what is that? And multiple inheritance, what is that? Will Java support multi-level inheritance? Will Java support multiple inheritance? If not, if it is answer is yes, why? If no, why? Explain.
Okay. Multi-level inheritance is
No. This is a question. I already explained over this video. You should be able to write a notes on this. While writing a notes, mark this as an interview question, and in a red question, ask what is multi-level inheritance and write an answer, and write what is multiple inheritance and write an answer.
Okay. So now you want me to answer or?
You don't need to answer me. So, but I'm just telling you this is what.
Yeah. I'm writing a note.
Okay.
I already wrote
Now,
it.